Maulana Jlalaludin Rumi, the highly respected religious scholar and jurist of Konya in 1244, is mounted on a horse surrounded by his students who walked alongside him. Amongst the crowd, a 60-year-old stranger wearing a black felt appeared. He grabbed Rumi's mount and asked, "Why did Bayazid said that he knew God, while the Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him said, 'We have not known you God as you should be rightly known'? Was Bayazid greater or Muhammad peace be upon him?" Maulana immediately understood the implications of the question and was excited to answer. He said, Bayazid's cup was smaller, so his thirst for water was satisfied with a single sip, while Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him's cup was huge, so his thirst for God was immense. The stranger and Rumi then exchanged a gaze that striped away all veils. After that, Maulana grasped his hand and they walked away. Unlike Shams, who had no apparent status, Rumi was a very famous mufti of that time in Konya. Shams did not even have a traditional Sufi ceremony where new dervishes are given cloaks by their Sufi masters, so Shams was not a formal Sufi or fit into that society. He was considered as a wandering man with no education. However, he claimed to have received a cloak from Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him directly in a dream. Shams struggled to stay a student to any Sufi master for long due to his rough, challenging personality. He would publicly disagree with famous Sufi teachers and argue, referring to challenging texts of law and spirituality. Rumi then took Shams to the market, to the street of goldsmiths, and to the shop of Salah. Salah was a trusted devotee of Rumi, and it was only him that Rumi trusted and requested a room in his house for Shams to stay in. Salah warmly welcomed Shams into his house, where Rumi and Shams remained for the next 3 months, forming a spiritual bond that would be admired by passionate hearts for centuries to come. Their friendship grew rapidly as both men found similar things disturbing and beautiful. However, something very strange began to happen. Rumi's followers, who expected him to do his regular sermons, grew displeased with the long absences of Rumi from public presence. Furthermore, Shams was teaching immoral practices to Rumi. He once asked Rumi to bring a bottle of wine from the tavern and drink it. Although doing so would cause Rumi to lose his respect as a Muslim scholar and he would disobey his religion. But Rumi chose to bring the wine because the command was from Shams, who was the source of all learning and knowledge about God and religion. Shams tested Rumi's trust by making him bring the wine, but then threw the glass away before the wine touched Maulana's lips. These practices were seen odd by Rumi's followers, but Shams was illuminating Rumi's heart by freeing him from the weight of his own dignity. Shams introduced dance and music into Rumi's life. Another major change was when Shams told Rumi, "Never read that again." Rumi was fond of reading his father Baha'u'llah's writing and his favorite Arabic poets, but Shams told Rumi these are mixed up, immoderate, and dark words. Shams aimed to dismantle Rumi's reliance on words of others and encouraged him by saying, "Where are your own?" Despite being Rumi's spiritual master, Shams considered himself merely a friend. He would say, "God has not yet created someone who could be Maulana's sheikh, yet I am not somebody who could be a disciple." No one was allowed to meet Maulana except his wife and son Sultan Walad, and even these two were tested by Shams for their loyalty with Maulana. These actions of Shams, which included isolating Maulana from public and introducing weird practices into Rumi's life, ignited a fire among Rumi's followers, who began to accuse Shams of being rude, arrogant, illiterate, and even greedy. They complained about Shams by saying, "The lovely son of Baha'u'llah from Balkh has become obedient to a child of Tabriz." Shams was neither a child nor uneducated. He habitually kept his details to himself, and his arguments about religion and law spirituality were beyond common understanding. His spiritual status can be measured by Ibn Arabi referring to him as his son, and Shams always praised Ibn Arabi warmly. He would say to Rumi, "Ibn Arabi was such an exalted scholar and more knowledgeable than me in every single way, a seeker of God." He would even have heated arguments with Ibn Arabi. Shams was perceived as greedy, as he used to sit outside Maulana's room, demanding coins from visitors wishing to see Maulana. People were furious, but Shams said, "These people claim to die for Maulana, and they say they love you, but when I ask 1 dirham, they lose their minds." He was not arrogant or rude. He just avoided small talk and fancy words. He would not entertain any hypocritical heart and refused to give respect to any entitled person who was proud. He would say to Rumi, "Whenever you see someone whose character is expansive, speaking broadly and patiently, and blessing the whole world so that his words open up your heart and you forget this narrow world, he is an angel from paradise. Whenever you hear in someone words arrogance, coldness, or narrowness, you become chilled by his words. Whoever discovers this secret and puts it into practice pays no attention to 100,000 sheikhs." He could sense darkness or light in others' heart, just as Rumi sensed light in Shams' heart. Shams said, "There was something in me that my sheikh could not see, and that no one could ever see, but Maulana has seen it." He would only open up his inner humbleness with Rumi, because Qalandars have a habit of keeping their good deeds even to themselves, because they do not want to become proud by showcasing them. He would remember his hometown with these words, "There were people therein in comparison to whom I am nothing. If I am like this, imagine what they were like." Rumi used to get hurt and angry when people complained about Shams. He would say, "If you love him, you would not see any greed or anything reprehensible." One day people came to Rumi and inquired whether drinking wine was forbidden or not. Rumi understood their underlying intentions and replied, "It depends who is drinking. If you pour a glass of wine into the ocean would not be polluted. But without doubt, a drop of wine would make a tiny pool of water unclean." Yet it was divine wine that Shams was intoxicated with.